Hi, my name is Ravi Chand, or as it's supposed to be pronounced, Ravi Chand. I am the writer, director, producer of Namaste Yoga. We just wanted to start this conversation by actually saying that yoga is a really big topic. We're not going to be able to cover thousands of years of traditional knowledge within a 15-minute video or however long this video goes. People spending an entire lifetime trying to learn. There will be some things that we talk about that relevant to Namaste Yoga and what we were saying about, I guess, the message of what Namaste Yoga was and the nuances of that. But we're not going to be able to go into everything. So just a little bit of a disclaimer about that. Thank you for your time watching this and wanting to know more.
You'll be glad to know after completing 200 hours of yoga teacher training that I am officially qualified to be your, as they say, yoga guru for the next few weeks. We're going to do the sun salutation.
It's Surya Namaskar, miss.
So the meaning of Surya Namaskar is Surya means sun and Namaskar means salute. So traditionally Surya Namaskars are done watching the sun or in presence of the sun rather, I'll say, instead of watching the sun, so that you get that heat, the source of energy comes to you, and then the mark of respect, you salute the sun after every round.
We'll start with the upward salute. So stretch your arms up, leaning backwards and...
Hasta Uttanasana. It's called Hasta Uttanasana.
When we teach yoga, and this is what I've always been ingrained in my yoga practices, that the first thing is that you need to make sure that you're pronouncing the name and understanding the meaning of the asana. So when you know the asana, you know what exactly it stands for. If it is coming from any yogi who has passed on for generation, you're rewarding back to the yogi by taking the name properly. So pronunciation should be really right to keep the respect. The second thing is the Sanskrit name, when it is pronounced properly, it really vibrates and it creates a lot of energy, which gives you a healing effect. When you pronounce the word or any Sanskrit word of asana, don't try to be very fast in pronunciation just to cover up things. Make sure that you say the pronunciation very slowly and clearly so that your vibration gets clearly heard and felt by each other, the student as well as the teacher.
One of the best ways to learn proper pronunciation is by going to learn from someone that knows how to pronounce it properly. Like, don't just, would you say not to just go on YouTube and try and Google and then try and learn from that, because sometimes the way that you think you might be saying it is different to what's actually being heard or what's actually coming out of your mouth.
You learn from the teacher actually in the presence of the teacher and the way they are pronouncing it. You capture things much clearer. Of course, I conduct classes, training via Zoom, but then they are live classes. It's not the actual recording classes, because if you're from a different culture and you're trying to replicate the pronunciation, you may sound it right, but if it is a pre-recorded, then there is no one to correct at that moment. So that's why the teacher's importance is very much there when in front of you, so that they can correct you there and there themselves. So that the proper pronunciation sits in your mind and you don't have to go forward and backward again and again.
The first asana there and what that asana is and significance of that, because we did discuss this in if I remember correctly, I sent you like screen grabs of almost 80 different asanas and said, what about this one, what about this one? And there's a very specific one that you, and knowing the story of Namaste Yoga and reading the script, you were very specific in this is the one that you have to use.
Yes.
Can you go into that and also what that asana is?
The name of the asana is called Sirsasana. Shir means head. So the asana is done where your head position is on the floor and your legs are up. Now, in the tradition of yoga, we always consider this position as a very important and crucial position because in this position, you're connecting to the Mother Earth directly with your Sahasrara chakra, which is in the center of your skull.
The father doing this asana at this particular time is very significant. And the reason why is because at the beginning we see him and he's lost his wife, he's still really in quite a depression, he's not centered, he's not doing his asanas, he's just not even present for his children really. And this is the first time we see he's actually, it wouldn't be that he just got up one day and he decided to do this and now he's doing it all over again. He slowly got to this point and now he's at this point where we see him and meet him, where he's starting to align, and where he's aligning is almost like the midpoint of this story. And you see that change then starting to happen for the children because he can be there for his kids now and have that conversation for the kids. So that's why that was in there. It's also talking to the stability of Gopal, the dad, of where he was at as a character.
Yeah. It was beautifully done. I really liked the way in the stillness was there. Getting into an asana and reaching the stage can be easier because there are tricks in which you can do it, but holding it for a long time, which is the true tradition of yoga, that's where the real challenge comes, and that's where it shows that how much efforts you have put. But you did a really good job in that.
So that asana that they were just doing then the kids, can you tell us what that asana is and significance of that asana?
The traditional asana name, we call it as a Shiva asana. Now some people call it as Vrikshasana also, but to give you a bit of a history of that, what has been passed on to us from the earlier generation is that when Shiva was meditating for a long time, it was in the standing position to attain the vibhuti, which is the supernatural powers. So standing on one leg and performing with your arms up straight upright, it is traditionally called as Shiva asana.
That's also a important part of the conversation that we were having with Namaste Yoga is before I even started writing the script, and as I was writing the script as well, like I'd send it to you and we'd have this conversation about what sort of asanas appropriate for the kids, but also what sort of asanas linked in with also the story, because you see Lord Shiva, we focus on him quite a bit. The main character's name is Shiv. So there was a link between all that. It was very purposely done so that we could link that all together. It wasn't just because that looked like the best asana.
That's right. Yeah. No, it was really nicely done.
Talk about that other next asana?
Yeah, the next asana what we saw was Purna Trikonasana. So in this position, you stand straight, as there should not be any bend in your knees, and you should go sidewise, making sure that your one arm is touching, your palm of the arm is touching the floor, and your other arm is straight up, and you should be watching the thumb of the hand, which is up. Now that alignment has to be done under observation of the yoga guru or yoga teacher or yoga acharya, whoever you call it as, because the alignment is very crucial.
We purposely did it so that the kids weren't doing it exactly right, because at that stage of the story, as that teacher, Miss Blanche, is actually teaching them, she's not teaching them properly or supervising them properly as she's doing it. The kids at that stage, they're not going to be like perfect at their yoga because it's the first couple of sessions that they're having as well. But it's really important, as you're saying, for a yoga acharya, guru, to actually, that you're learning from, that really does know all of this, because doing it the wrong way can cause injury as well.
Absolutely. First of all, the yoga teacher has to keep in mind that the instructions should be very clear and the instructions should be repeated several times, because the brain doesn't absorb the signals coming in. Probably one student may absorb it clearly, but initially the body is in struggle to come into a proper stability factor. So unless you don't repeat the instructions again and again and again and again, the mind doesn't absorb things. The best way in which way we teach in our school is we focus a lot on mind, but it all depends upon how the teacher is taking the students in that path toward building that strength. And not only on the physical level, but also on the mental level, how he's building the strength of the student, which is very critical.
And that's a really good point, because you see now, like, especially for young kids, like slowly starting to get access as they get older to social media, and with Instagram, particularly Instagram, you see so many accounts of people just in them, just different sort of contortions, and feeling like that we didn't want kids to feel like that's the end goal of it, that you have to just strive to just make it as difficult as possible. And for an Instagram account, that yoga is much more than that. Once you get to what the real essence of yoga is, it opens up a whole new world of a lot more richness to what it actually should be about.
Absolutely. Whatever is beautiful can be on a superficial level, but what is inside may be completely different. So you need to make sure that you give ample time, resonate yourself with that position, and make sure that you go on a deeper level where that asana is done properly.